Yo,
Hello.
how's it
Literally,
going?
I was sitting down eating because I had picked
Uh-huh.
up food on my way home from work.
hmm
And then I was like, oh, I'm not recording until 7:30. Like I can chill, eat, take my time. And then you said, I'm ready when you are. And I said, huh?
Yeah, cheeseburger. What's going on? What time is it? Well,
Right.
because earlier, I had gotten the times mixed up too. Because when I look at my phone, it tells me my time, and then when I look at the computer, it tells me your time. And so I'm like, wait, what time
That's
is it?
confusing.
Yeah, yeah. So I just use my phone so then I know it's my time. All right. Welcome to Two Guys Unfiltered, a podcast where trans people share their coming out stories, the funny ones, the hard ones, and everything in between. I'm Juju.
And I'm August. So whether you're trans, questioning, or just here to listen, we're glad you're here. Our guest today is Caleb. He shared his transition story and interest for Texas barbecue. So we want to know from you guys, what's your go-to barbecue dish? Leave your answers in the comments below so we know who not to invite to our next cookout. Now let's get into it. Do you want to introduce yourself? Yeah.
Okay. I am Caleb. I'm a 35-year-old trans man here in Central Texas. Um, I just do barbecue. That's what I do. Um, I there's not much else. That's kind of 5 years ago. I kind of just fell into it and I fell in love with it and have been kind of getting deeper into it as time has passed. So, um, But as far as other special interests, I do I like to kayak a lot. That's another thing I like to do. I got access to the Brazos River like right over here, like 2 miles down the road. So yeah, I can have a nice day out on the river and just enjoy myself out there. Um, but yeah, that's just what I do. I just cook. That's what I like to do.
And how did you get into that? Is that something like your parents were interested in, or you just kind of developed it on your own?
So yeah, I kind of fell into it. So I was a 911 dispatcher for like close to 8 years.
Okay,
Um,
that's a cool job.
and it was wild. Uh, and I got to a point where I was like, man, this just isn't. If I retire doing this, I'm gonna look like I'm 80 years old by the time I'm 50. Like it's a rough job.
Yeah, I
And you
bet.
hear a lot of rough things, and I have a lot of admiration for the people that are behind those phones. But I kind of came to a point where I was like, I can't do this anymore. I got to find something else. And I kind of just abruptly left and fell into a job, kind of doing some prep work for a kitchen at a barbecue spot here, and it just kind of escalated from there. And I ended up, going from washing dishes to working in the kitchen to eventually working in the pit house, and I kind of just never left, and I've just stayed working in pit houses ever since.
Nice.
And
That's
I've been
cool.
happy. I went from uh, stressed out, fast-paced kind of job to where everything is forced to slow down.
Yeah, you
When
can't
you're
rush
smoking meat, it's a
barbecue.
slow process. You don't rush it. Yeah, so I kind of went in the total opposite direction, and I didn't look back.
Probably very needed after that kind of job. And 8 years of it too. That's
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. And I was kind of raised in the first responder environment. My dad was a firefighter growing up. I assisted him doing work with cadaver dogs, search and rescue dogs, stuff like that. And I always really tried to find my place in that environment. And in the end, it just wasn't for me.
yeah.
I want to find my own other way of, I still think I have a servant's heart. Um, that was definitely something that stuck with me throughout being raised like that. But I think it's safe to say that I try to find other ways of doing that other than first responding, stuff like that.
Yeah. No, cooking food is probably one of the most important too, because how is everybody gonna do what they need to do if there is no barbecue food?
Exactly. Yeah. And, hopefully there's uh, ways that I can still be involved in that world and then still be able to cook barbecue. When they
Mhm.
had these floods here in Texas, where a lot of these children passed away, some of these barbecue guys, they set up uh, in the disaster areas. And
Oh,
because you
nice.
don't need electricity to smoke, meat. So you're able to set up in places that don't have electricity set up and
Mhm.
things and cook for people, first responders, search and rescue people, victims, families, stuff like that. Uh, so there's a lot of different ways that I can still be a part of that world, but do what I like doing.
Especially in like Texas barbecue. Well, from what I've learned of just like being here for a few years, is like the Texas or barbecue is the definition of Texas, and then that's just it, just
Right.
everywhere.
Yeah, it's pretty well rooted around here for sure. Yeah, yeah, it is. Everybody's got their opinions and it's
Mhm.
strong opinions and I love it.
All right. Well, can you give us a little summary of your coming out story?
Yeah, it's kind of really easy. I just figured it out one day and I was like, well, let's do it. I I know like a lot of people have more to their coming out story, but it was just one day I just woke up and it just clicked. Like and when I look back, at my childhood, there's times where I had to be uh talked to about it being appropriate for me to wear a shirt and why I have to wear a shirt and my brother didn't have to wear a shirt sometimes and things like that. And there was times where that were I guess were confusing for me. Whereas, other little girls, it wasn't really confusing for them. They're like, oh, okay, I'll just wear a bikini or whatever, cool. And I'm over here like, dressing up like Michelin man to go, swimming with my Girl Scout group, like we're damn near wearing a sweatshirt in the pool. And but one day I was like I just moved out to Tulsa for a little bit for a dispatching job, and I woke up and I had seen some things on TikTok, and that was another thing I think is exposure.
Mhm.
I was never exposed to trans men. I wasn't really big into YouTube, and I know a lot of guys, they saw other trans men, 10 years ago on YouTube and stuff. I never saw any of that.
Same.
Um, so I always kind of knew there was an internal issue going on. Just never knew what it was until one day I just got enough exposure to where I was like, I think this is it. I think this is what it is. And woke up one morning, everything just made sense. And it was like 2 days later, I was at the clinic getting
Oh,
testosterone.
wow.
It was that good. Yeah.
That's cool. How old were you?
30. So I was ready
30.
to get
Okay,
started.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I was ready to get going on that.
Yeah, but after all those years, you're like, why should I wait a day more? I already
Exactly.
know. Yeah.
When it clicked, it just clicked, and everything just fell into place. Everything made sense. My adolescent years, my 20s, everything made sense as to
Hmm.
why they happened the way they happened. Yeah.
And then as far as like reactions from like maybe family and friends and stuff like that, how did that go?
So I would say I think one of the questions, maybe I shouldn't skip into it, but I think one of the more harder things about your transition,
Mm,
that would be the hard spot in my transition. I haven't spoken to my family in about 5 years.
okay.
So
I'm sorry about that.
yeah, it happens. I have struggled with it. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I don't struggle with it to this day.
Hmm.
I grieve for my family every day. But I'm still at the end of the day happier when I wake up in the morning and I look at myself in the mirror. I can deal without it. I can deal without them
Yeah.
because I'm here. I'm happy where I'm at. I'm happy in my shell, my whatever this is that we're given for hopefully 80 plus years, you know?
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, it's been hard at times. But it's why I try to, I, I, I try to stay public, um, on TikTok and things like that because it was important for me, to be exposed the way I was, and not everybody gets to. There were certain people that I was able to relate to that helped me with my transition, whether they know it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be able to be that person for
For
others.
somebody else. Yeah.
So yeah, so that's why I try to stay public with it. And yeah, I don't really have a whole lot of family to share things with, so I kind of just have an online presence and roll with that, you know.
Right.
Yeah. And in your like day-to-day life, are you out as a trans man, or do you kind of tend to not tell people?
Depends on what environment I'm in. Around here, you kind of have to pick and choose
Mhm.
how honest you are about it. And I wouldn't use it as honesty. I guess that's the wrong word to use. It's just how open I am
Right.
about who I am. I there's I've had issues in workplaces in the past, um, and then I also haven't, you know, where I thought I may. So
Mm-hmm.
um, it's been hit or miss, and I just have kind of over time learned to kind of feel around the environment that I'm in, you know, and see where I can be open. The guys that I work with at night, we're all cool, we're all close, we joke around. Um, Good group of cis guys that I work with. Every day they're learning something new, I swear. But they seem to enjoy that. And I really enjoy working with them over there
That's good.
because we all kind of get educated. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I like
But
when cis men are open, but not what's the word?
Invasive.
degrading,
Yeah,
yeah,
like
invasive,
they're
yeah,
genuinely like curious and like actively want to know, but not in like a rude or inappropriate way.
Right.
exactly, yeah. And you know, and I enjoy jokes as much as the next guy too. And every now and then, you know, we'll pop jokes off at each other and stuff, and it's nice. It's nice
Mm-hmm.
to be in a comfortable environment to where you do get to have that male experience, to where you kind of banter back and forth and stuff, you know, stuff like that. But it's
Yeah,
not degrading, it's not evasive, it's comfortable.
right. Yeah, it's all
But
friendly fire.
yes, and but that's a space that I've felt out over time, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and developed over time. I wouldn't just around here, I wouldn't just hop into a space and then just immediately be that comfortable.
Understandable.
And what's one thing someone should have warned you about before starting hormones?
Uh, yeah, like I mean, the one thing I think everybody that one, the sex drive was insane. That was unexpected. Uh, I think that I say that because it's my number one. I think it was like a week after I started testosterone. I was like, "What is wrong with me, dude? Like, I am a monster." But anything else like I kind of expected, I guess. The weight distributed the weight distribution.
Distribution.
There we go. That was unexpected. My upper body got bigger, and then I lost a lot of uh, strength in my legs that I wasn't expecting. And it kind of happened quickly, you know. After a few months, it's like I noticed it's like, man, my knees hurt, and it's because like muscle around my knees, you know, is not the same as it used to be when I was a woman.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of have to work harder on, you know, leg strengthening exercises and stuff like that. So I guess that's something that I never expected, was you know, how your body is going to redistribute things.
Right. Like they tell you, but I feel like you actually have to experience it to understand what that means.
Right.
Yeah, you don't know till you know. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Breaking news!
Starting Thursday, December 4th, the controversial Texas so-called bathroom bill officially takes into effect this week, restricting access to restrooms and locker rooms based on the user's biological sex at birth. While this only applies to publicly owned buildings like libraries, government facilities, private businesses can also choose their own bathroom policies. Ash Hall of the Texas ACLU points out the logistics of this law, stating, basically, a complete stranger takes a look at you and decides internally whether or not you belong and harasses you about it.
So some positive news this week. New York's new mayor just put together his transition team, and one of the standout picks is Abby Stein, a trans woman, author, activist, and rabbi. She grew up in an ultra-Orthodox community, came out in 2015, and has become a big voice for LGBTQ plus rights. Her appointment got the predictable mix of reactions, right-wing outrage on one side and a lot of love and celebration on the other. Bottom line, this shows us that the mayor is making it clear he's sticking to his progressive pro-LGBTQ plus promises, and Abby Stein's story makes this a pretty powerful moment.
A small win in Florida this week after Florida Attorney General James Othmere attempted to cancel a Christmas drag show from performing, calling the drag performers demonic and would constitute a city-sanctioned religious mockery back in November. In a meeting this past week, City Council member Charles Baer, who voted against discussing the letter in its entirety, stated, "We did not ask for a legal opinion from this person. And as far as I am concerned, this is his personal opinion written on government letterhead, wasting taxpayer dollars." If you want to read more into these stories, the links to the articles will be in the description below. So then on the flip side of our question previously, what do you think has been the most affirming or joyful part of your transition?
A lot of it has been fairly recent. Well, I'm close to 5 years in now, and I'm starting to lose. Over this last year, I've lost a lot of weight, and I think it's just a lot of that was I quit drinking. I did used to drink a lot, and I will say this right here, guys, to all you guys, if you do not drink during your transition, don't drink. It produces estrogen. It's going to slow down your transition. When I quit drinking, it it things that I
Interesting.
thought I was just like, yes, like I was 4 years on testosterone. And like I'm like, man, I'm never like I still have this baby face, I still have this, I still have that. What's going on? I can't grow body hair. And the minute I quit drinking last January, it just snowballed. I started getting some facial hair. I started, losing weight in all the places that I wanted to lose weight. My muscles started getting better. Don't drink. Uh, don't drink during your transition. Don't drink when you start hormones. It absolutely jacks it up and it'll hold you back.
Good to
And that's
know.
just something I figured out on my own. Yeah, yeah.
And that's just beer
Um,
or like just anything?
I don't know. I mean, I was drinking a lot of beer. I was drinking a lot of liquor. I did have when I first I struggled with alcohol probably since 2015. My little brother passed away. And so I struggled with alcohol since then. And it wasn't until last year when I finally like really quit. And so during my entire transition, I mean, I was drinking whatever. And so I don't know if it was just beer, alcohol, or what. All I know is that as soon as I quit, it's like it was like I just started testosterone. Like I was holding myself back for years. So that's definitely something I want to get out there to some of these guys. And I know it's a struggle for some of us.
Oh
I
yeah,
get that
definitely.
too.
It's sad
I
to
didn't
see
know that.
the statistics of like trans people having like some sort of eating disorder or addiction.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. And and I've noticed like, before I transitioned, like when I was younger, I used to overeat a lot. Um, and and that just goes back into me saying earlier when I look back, things made sense. I was always kind of trying to fill some void in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
When I was young and I didn't drink and have access to alcohol, it was food. And
Mm-hmm.
when I got older and had access to alcohol, it was alcohol. Um, and so until I finally figured it out and then started becoming uh, true to myself and my body is when I kind of stopped trying to fill holes.
The trans glow up was real.
Yeah, yeah, everybody's got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And were there any key moments or people who helped you feel more affirmed in your identity?
Um, yeah, I mean, when I first started, when I first with my name change and everything, I have a lot of old friends that were very affirming and have always been affirming. And but for the most part, it's kind of done this solo. to be honest. Everything has kind of had to come from within. Whereas I have had good people in my life and friends that have always been affirming. A lot of this has just been having to figure myself out and be happy with myself and be affirming with myself. And the more I started doing that, the more that I think I was affirmed by the public, if that makes sense. Walking down the street, someone would smile and say hi to me. And I'm like, I remember the first time that ever happened. That didn't ever happen before. My whole life, people just kind of never, maybe I had this aura about me, untouchable or something like that. But I remember that it was last January. I was walking down the street and this, person made eye contact with me and just said hi to me. And it was just like, and then I noticed that more and more and more. And I was like, okay, the people out here are just seeing me as some guy, this young man, this everyday fellow walking down the street, and I'm approachable. And that was always affirming to me. Whereas it kind of seems like a small, not big deal. To me, it was a big deal. When you are doing a lot of this solo and you don't have outside sources affirming you, it's those little things that matter.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. And how do you think your relationship with masculinity and femininity has changed throughout your life?
How do I answer that question? With words. How do I answer with words is what I'm trying to say. It's, I think I had more of a strict perspective on masculinity and femininity when I was a lesbian. I was very hard-headed, like I'm the guy in the relationship and things like that. Very old school L word uh way of viewing things. And then it wasn't until I started transitioning that I discovered that things are a lot more fluid than that. And that it's society that's given me that perspective and that has given me that perspective. And that I even try to implement in women with women relationships, Um, I don't know if that's making sense, but now it's kind of like I feel feeling comfortable in my body and feeling comfortable in who I am. I mean, I'll go out here and wear a dress. I don't care. I feel comfortable in my body, so but you wouldn't have caught me dead in a dress 10 years ago.
Right.
Like I wouldn't have felt right in it. And now I'll walk downtown wearing a dress and feel proud. So I don't listen to all your typical, men's music. I listen to, pop and disco and stuff like that. And it's, you know, uh, I don't know. I had a I think, and I also, maybe I'm very, being born and raised here and stuff like that. I was given a very strict sense of what duties were as far as
Right.
genders go.
Mhm.
So that took some work to get out of my system because when I first started transitioning, I did give myself standards of how I had to be,
Right.
given what I was raised with. So it's taken some time for me to let go of some things as far as, what is a man's job and what is a woman's job and things like that, if that makes sense. And really, at the end of the day, it's, masculinity is using your attributes to help others. And that's what I see. When I started testosterone, I was given different attributes, and I, use it to help others in any way that you can. And that's masculinity to me. And if we all kept that cycle of masculinity, the whole world would just flow. It would flow like if women were running it. If
Right.
masculine
Yes.
people would use their attributes to help others, this world would run like a woman was running it. So
And that's what we need to.
that's kind of, and that's what Lord knows. Yeah.
Right.
And what would you
But
say is
that's interesting.
something?
I never,
Go ahead.
sorry, never really thought about like the socialization of like the country Texas, like country,
Mhm.
like, and then like those like home values of like this is what the man in the household does. And then when you're raised in a household like that and being trans, it's not only do you have to understand that you were born in the wrong body, right? But then you're also trying to change those stereotypes for yourself at the same time. It's a lot to
Right.
break down.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a whole other world to break down. Yeah, but it's I wouldn't trade this for the world. I really wouldn't. If someone were to be like, look, you can be reborn and you can be a cis guy, I'm good. I'm good because the knowledge that I have and the empathy that I have it all through education and self experiences, and I wouldn't trade that for the world. Because I happen to think I'm more empathetic than I ever could have possibly be as a
Right.
as a trans guy versus being cis. And I'm not saying that you can't be empathetic as a cis guy. I just think we're put on this planet to have the experiences that we have so that we can share those with others.
Yeah.
Um, that's what I think we're here for.
For sure. And what's something that you wish trans men would talk about more?
Mm, I don't. That's a question. I'm not sure. It's not so much like as a talk about thing is just more. I have noticed. I did notice. I did start to lose. Um, you when you start to transition into a man, I felt like the further away from the community I started to get. Um, the gay community, the LGBT community, everything's really tight knit,
Yeah.
and I started to feel distant from that. And I still do to a little, to a certain extent. Um, because a lot of people, they just, I don't know. I think that's where I'm at with as far as I think building more community as trans men would be really important, and it is really important. How we go about doing that, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Um, but that is something I wish we probably had more of is some more community.
Sure.
Right. Like part of me
That
gets it.
y'all gonna have to do a lot of editing on that one because I butchered the hell out of it.
You're all good. Part of me gets it as like, yes, I wanted to physically appear as a man, right? So with that comes with like the responsibility and the perception of being a man. But then inside I'm like, wait, but I'm not a man. I'm a trans man. Yes, I'm a man, but that brings a whole other layer of the type of man that I am. And I
Exactly.
don't like that you have to share with people that you are trans just for them to have more empathy than they would if they just thought you were a cis man.
Right.
And what are you most proud of in your journey so far?
Um, all right, so far I would say my transition and my transition into this career. Um, when I got into Texas barbecue, it's a whole environment, and it's a very cis male dominated environment. And for the longest time, I felt like I did not belong. I knew I wanted to be there, and I knew I liked doing what I was doing, and I knew I liked doing it in the body that I'm in. Um, but I felt so out of place, and like I would never have a place or a home in the world or in this world. Um, and then one day I just realized that um, my difference is my strength, and I started to kind of roll with that. And that's kind of where things started to pop off on social media a little bit, is because I started to be like, I'm a trans man. I'm proud of this, and I cook barbecue, and I haven't seen any other pit masters who are trans guys out there. And I want to show other guys that you can do literally anything. If you want to be a pit master, you can be a pit master. Don't let these old men out here intimidate you. They don't know what they're talking about anyway. But like, so that's what I think the most proud of so far is feeling like I didn't blend in a space, so I just created my own. And so far, it's something that's really been working out, and I'm hoping to continue it and level up. And the goal at the end of the day is to open a restaurant that most of my employees are queer, and there's a safe space for queer people to practice and learn barbecue. That's my goal, and because everybody deserves to learn how to cook.
Right.
And it, it's it can be an intimidating environment if you're wanting to get into it. And I don't want other guys out there to have to go through some of the things that I went through. I just want them to come in and focus on cooking.
Hmm.
And that's the kind of space I want to create someday for other people.
I like that. That's beautiful. And then you kind of shared it a little bit, but as far as the trans community, what would be your hopes for the future?
I mean, it's just leave us alone. I mean, I know that's like really just leave us alone. Let us do our thing. We want to get our surgeries. If we want to be in sports, if we want jobs, we want lives. Uh, we got to pay our taxes like everybody else. So,
Right.
Yeah.
um, it may be almost too simply put, but it's just how I believe, Um, I'm hoping that someday the bills and all that stuff will stop, and we have rights, and we can look back on this and just remind people of where we were at this day and age, and how lucky we are to be where we are in the future. That's what I'm hoping for. I believe that we'll get there. I know that times have been tough. They've been dark. And I want a lot of y'all. I've gotten scared at times, but um, I think we're gonna pull out of this, and I think it's just gonna be a real shitty part of history, and we're just gonna not. It's gonna be our responsibility to remind the youth in the future of where we almost ended up.
Hmm. I mean, hey, we had a little, not a little win, a big win. Shouldn't be a win. We shouldn't have to celebrate it. But now,
Shouldn't have been a win, but I know what you said.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
like the whole gay marriage and that not being on like the chopping block anymore as of right now at least.
Right now,
But
yeah.
again, like we
Yeah,
shouldn't
like
have
I'm
to
like,
had
hey, that's
celebrated
cool and everything.
that being denied.
Yeah, like that's great and everything, but if I go use a federal building men's restroom, I can go to jail.
Yeah,
So, like, that's cool, Supreme Court, but what about me taking a piss without having to worry about it? You
exactly.
know? Uh, so that's kind of where I am with that.
Damn, I
Yeah.
forgot that passed in Texas.
Sometimes it's like in Texas, it kind of feels like in Texas, it kind of feels like you're living in a whole different country sometimes. Because I'm like, oh yeah, like that's great. I'm
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
be happy for that, but it's like, oh fuck, I can't go into like you said a federal building and use the bathroom, sort of thing. So
Hmm.
Mhm. Yeah. Which, and if I were to walk into a ladies' restroom in a federal building, they would also grab me and arrest me. So it's
Right.
like,
So it's like,
you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. They always forget about the trans guys.
and then if you go
Everybody's
piss
so worried
outside,
about,
then you get
yeah,
charged with like
I'll
public
do it too.
indecency. So you're
I'll do it
fucked.
too. I'll take that charge. Charge for the cause. I'll go pee outside.
I mean, that's like what they want us to do at this point. You can't use the restroom
The
inside,
point
so
is
I'll
to keep
just
us at home.
yeah, right.
That's the point. Yeah. Around here, that's the point. If you're gonna not dress right or look right, you need to stay at home. What's funny is they'll look at me and tell me that, and I'm like, buddy, you all right. I just had someone leave me a comment like just 15 minutes before this interview, saying that I'll never be able. I need to stay out of the women's restrooms, and I'm like, yeah, I know, I agree, I do need to stay out of the women's restrooms,
Right.
but y'all.
Girl, thank you.
So if you want to talk about gender affirming, that's it right there. It's the
I that baffles me. Like you can be so transphobic and then go the wrong way or go the right way.
yeah, yeah. It's
So
it's
transphobic you
funny.
became an ally.
Yeah, they'll but around here, it's just you do have to be careful. I mean, hell, I don't know about y'all, but I watch the way I piss. You know, um, I don't like being heard pissing in a men's restroom because you never know who's gonna clock you,
I just
and
courtesy
Right.
flush
it's like that.
And
the whole
that's such
time.
a weird thing to be
Cour-
clocked by
Courtesy
too.
flushing, yep,
Courtesy.
yeah. But yeah, you never know who's in there with you. It's kind of a weird thing. And but that's the thing is like, man, that means y'all gay. Y'all over here listening to me pee, bro. Like,
Yeah. Like, why are you doing that in the first place? That
yeah.
should be the thing looked at. You
But
got a
it's
piss
it's a
kink or
real thing.
something.
It's a real thing. Yeah. That's wild. So
Let's see. I think that's all the questions we had for you. Would you like to share your social media handles in case they're not giving you a follow and they want to do that?
yeah, Texas Toasted Barbecue. Any of my social medias, Instagram, TikTok. I think that's all I got. Texas Toasted Barbecue. Check me out, and yeah, I'm always trying to post some things, cooking and stuff like that, exposing everybody to Texas barbecue, at least the queer community.
So that's a wrap on today's episode of Two Guys Unfiltered. A huge thank you to Caleb for sharing his story. If today's episode resonated with you or reminded you of your own, we would love to hear from you. Click the link in the description to fill out the form if you're interested in being our next guest.
And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode with someone who needs it. Until next time, take care of yourself and each other. Bye.